What if the golden sweetness of a pastoral honey farm is merely a glaze over a hive of human sting, and the only way to solve a murder in paradise is to stop tasting the product and start dissecting the politics of its production? In Murder at the Honey Farm, A.R. Winters delivers a travel-cozy mystery that transforms the agritourism trope into a sharp exploration of rural economics and female intuition, proving that in landscapes marketed as idyllic, justice requires seeing the labor behind the label. This isn't merely another quaint whodunit with bees and biscuits. It's a psychologically precise narrative where every jar of honey feels like both gift and evidence. Consent to investigate is negotiated through respect for local knowledge rather than tourist entitlement. And truth means honoring the complexity of rural life when outsiders demand simplicity. From the first sun-warmed narration, listeners are immersed in a world where hospitality is performance and presence is the only true extraction method. Perfect for fans of intelligent travel mysteries and stories where female sleuths triumph through cultural fluency, this audiobook serves up atmospheric charm, relentless authenticity, and a protagonist whose journey from curious visitor to sovereign advocate resonates with anyone who's ever sensed rot beneath the bloom. When travel writer Tiffany Black arrives at Vermont's Golden Comb Apiary for a feature on sustainable beekeeping, she expects bucolic content, not to discover the farm's beloved matriarch dead in the extraction room, her final notes referencing a land deal that contradicts the family's public ethos. But as Tiffany navigates grieving heirs and defensive staff, she realizes this death isn't about agriculture, it's about inheritance of silence. Winters masterfully avoids reducing Tiffany to nosy outsider or the farm to postcard backdrop. Instead, she crafts a narrative where tourism becomes forensic lens, where consent is renegotiated through acknowledgement of privilege rather than assumed access, and where liberation requires amplifying voices paid to stay sweet. The audiobook narration amplifies this emotional precision, capturing Tiffany's professional curiosity softening into fierce advocacy, while secondary voices shift subtly between performative grief and guarded knowledge, making every tour feel like both education and interrogation. You don't just hear the mystery unfold, you feel the seismic shift of a community learning that some truths can only be spoken when the camera stops rolling. What elevates Murder at the Honey Farm beyond typical travel cozies is its nuanced portrayal of agritourism as economic negotiation rather than nostalgic escape. Tiffany isn't merely solving a crime, she's confronting how her own industry commodifies rural struggle as aesthetic, challenging the notion that appreciation requires consumption. Her relationships evolve through acts of radical reciprocity, sharing silences with beekeepers whose expertise bypasses marketing copy, establishing trust through recognition of unpaid emotional labor, and defending workers' testimony against heirs who mistake loyalty for ownership. Supporting characters add vital texture, neighboring farmers whose skepticism encodes protection, seasonal staff whose transience reflects systemic precarity, even the hives themselves, rendered as a living archive whose hum absorbs decades of unspoken bargains. Every interaction reinforces the novel's core truth. In economics built on image, attention is insurgency, and presence is the only true harvest. Even the cozy mechanics serve thematic depth, with honey tasting mirroring emotional discernment, and apiary rhythms becoming metaphors for earned trust. For audiobook listeners, this production is pure auditory nectar with substance. The narrator embodies Tiffany and the Golden Comb community with remarkable distinction. Tiffany's voice carries warm intelligence laced with dawning resolve, while secondary voices span generations and stations, making each resident's journey distinct yet interconnected. Sound design enhances atmosphere without overwhelming intimacy. Distant buzzing marking temporal rhythm, rain against barnwood during vulnerable confessions, the hushed clink of glass jars sinking with breath during moments of revelation, all anchor emotional stakes in sensory reality. Pacing mirrors the cadence of farm life, deliberate during observation and reflection, then surging with urgency as external pressures collide with internal awakenings. Whether you're commuting through urban chaos or unwinding in twilight solitude, the audiobook creates a portable sanctuary where slowness feels sacred and connection feels lifeline. It's storytelling as embodied validation, transforming passive listening into active participation in a mystery where healing isn't about catching a killer, but about restoring dignity to the overlooked. Ultimately, Murder at the Honey Farm redefines the travel cozy mystery by centering female epistemology within rural frameworks. It satisfies genre cravings for fair play clues and satisfying reveals, while delivering substantive commentary on agritourism ethics, intergenerational trauma, and the radical act of trusting women's truths when systems demand palatability. No prior series knowledge is needed. It stands confidently as a complete emotional odyssey. If you've ever wondered whether appreciation can coexist with accountability, or if true strength requires embracing what others sanitize, this audiobook will affirm that sometimes the most powerful act is simply tasting the bitterness beneath the sweet. Press play, step into the apiary, and prepare to believe that even in landscapes shaped by performance, hearts still find ways to speak. Your next favorite cozy isn't waiting in perfect vistas. It's waiting in the brave, trembling choice to see the whole hive.